Hi, today I wanted to cover an update to one of our apps. We've covered it before, and that's Container Station. So if you don't already have Container Station installed on your NAS, you can come into the App Center and we put it under the QTS Essentials section, and you'll see it here, Container Station. It's got a little beta logo next to it at the moment. So this is Container Station version 3, and there's quite a lot of changes, all for the better, from the last time we covered this. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to just show you what the new Container Station looks like, and I'll go through and I'll create an updated video creating a pie hole again. I think I did that in the last one as well. So just to show you how you do that in this new layout. Now anybody that used the old one can agree this is a much better dashboard to see the overview of everything. I've got a lot of zeros right now simply because I haven't got a container, so before I go through too many of the features, I'm going to create the pie hole container just so that we can populate some of these from zeros. So the way you go about creating your first container is I prefer to click the Explore button at the top, and that opens up a sort of search box here. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to type in pie hole, P-I-H-O-L-E, and at the top there we've got the official pie hole Docker image directly from them. So I'm going to click deploy on that one. That's the one I want. You can pick which version you want. There's many to choose from, all the way to dev versions and different options, betas, things like that. I'm just going to choose the latest, so I'll leave it on latest for now. I'll click next. Now some of the default settings are not going to be compatible with running it on the NAS, so we do have to change a couple of them. So we've got the name there, that's fine. I'll probably just remove the -1, just call it pie hole. You've got policies here for the restarts, as this service is quite essential to your network. If you've got it working for a lot of people on the network, you would definitely want it to pretty much always restart, so make sure it's always on. But yeah, it's up to you how you want to set that. I'll leave it on unless stopped. So yeah, there's a different options here, but yes, unless stopped is similar to always, except when the container is manually stopped, it does not restart. So if you accidentally did stop it but wanted it to always run, you can choose always. So even if you stop it, it will start automatically. But I'll leave it on unless stopped for now. It's letting you know what ports are available, so it's using a few of these, like 53s for DNS, 80 for the web interface, things like that. So it's done all that for you. Now the thing we want to change is the network mode. It's currently set to default of NAT, so we do have to change that. So I'm going to go to the advanced settings, I'm going to go to networks, and I'm going to change it from the default NAT to custom, and we need it on the bridge option. So we're going to bridge it. We're still going to use this adapter on the NAS, but we're going to bridge it, and I'm going to say use a static IP address, and I'm going to type in an IP address. You want your pie hole always on the same IP address because you're going to be setting the DNS server for your clients to this address. So in my case, my DNS address that I'm going to use is 10.10.2020. Nice and easy to remember. So we'll leave it on that. I don't really need to change anything else, but there is a lot of different options here that you can set. One of the unique things now with the new update is you can change all of these settings at once and then click apply once. Before, you used to have to sort of change a setting, click apply before you click to the next screen. So now everything's very easy to do multiple setting changes at once. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to click apply. So we can see that's been referenced here. It no longer says NAT, or network address translation, as the network mode. So I'm fine with everything there. I'm going to click next. Little summary. I'm happy with everything, and click finish. So now what it's going to do, it's going to go off and download that container. It's a couple hundred megs, I think, at this point. It's definitely getting bigger. So there we go. It's downloaded that. It's going to start processing it. So we don't really need to look at the background task too much. We'll see it appear in the containers section soon. So if I click over to the containers section, we should see the pie hole option there. It'll say created, and it should change to running, and we can see sort of a command line output down here of it booting up. So that's effectively now running a version of pie hole. Now by default, you won't know the password to log into it. So before we go to the web interface of the container, we do need to change the password to something that we can use. So here I'm going to click into the pie hole option, and I'm going to click execute at the top. I want to execute a command. So I'm going to click execute. I'm fine with the default console there. Click execute, and I've got a command line prompt for the container. So here I'm going to type pie hole -a -p, and it should give me a prompt to type a new password, which I'm fine with. So I'll type that in here, confirm it, New password is set. So I'm going to disconnect that. Don't need the command line interface anymore. Close out of there. So now the container is ready to use, if you like. So I can open up a new window here and go 10.10.2020 /admin. And there we are, logged into the Pi-hole now. So we can type in the password we just typed. I'm going to remember me for 7 days and click login. So now I'm logged into Pi-hole. It's ready to go. Its IP address is 10.10.2020. So that's what I need to set the DNS address to, DNS server address, in the settings for all my clients. Now you can do it manually. If you got a lot of clients, it'll take a long time. So there's a couple of options to go about this. So the first option is to come down into settings within Pi-hole, and there is a DHCP server option. So you can enable the DHCP server and have the Pi-hole give the addresses out, and it's going to give itself as a DNS address to every client that's connecting in. Now it's very important to not enable this if you already have a DHCP server enabled on your network. So either go disable that one, come here and enable this one. You should never have two DHCP servers on the same network. Or in my case, what I would do is I wouldn't use this feature. I'd probably log into my own router. So here's mine. And I can see I've got the DHCP server enabled in my setup here, but I can scroll down and I can enable in here. I could put DNS server of 10.10.2020. So now anybody, once I apply that setting, anybody that's on my network requesting automatic IP addresses is going to be given the Pi-hole, the address for the Pi-hole as their DNS server. So then all traffic for that will go through that specific server. So that's how you can use it for different items there. So I'm not going to apply that. I don't need it for my setup. I've got it running somewhere else, but that's a different option that you can do. But this is how you would make it work with that. And in the dashboard there, as people start browsing the internet or doing different tasks, it's all going to come up here and get populated with different items there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to on my phone here, I'm going to configure a manual address. So that my phone is going to use the Pi-hole as a DNS server in this setup. So I'm going to click save on that on my phone. It's fine. So let me go and access an address like Met Office or something like that. So we can see we've now got some queries populating. So that's all running. So anything that's running. So let's go access another site with a lot of pop-ups, something like Daily Mail or something like that, so we can see the queries shooting up. So we can see all the different queries that are happening on the network now. So my phone's now connecting. If we go to the clients section, you can add specific clients if you want, groups of people. You can set different ad lists in here. So you can choose which DNS servers you're using. So in the settings screen for DNS, you can choose who you're using. In this case, it's decided to use Google, but you could change it to different ones if you wanted to, even IPv6 ones. But this is showing me all the information, queries that are happening, sites that I'm trying to access from my phone, what it's blocking, so permitted domains, blocked domains. So you can see all of this information here. And you've also got things like whitelisting and things like that. So if you want to go through and whitelist a certain site because it's causing you problems, it's blocking something maybe you don't want it to block, you can go ahead and block that there as well. So that's how you would do Pi-hole in the new container station. If I come back to container station, we can see we've got some information populated now. So we've got the container running. We can see we've now got the image for Pi-hole downloaded, so 287 meg. This was what was used to install that instance of Pi-hole. In containers, we see some good information. When you click into the container, you see some nice details, everything that's going on the container. So you get some nice information on it as well, different logs of what's happening. A nice statistic chart so you can see how demanding a container is over a certain time, so you can see network throughput, disk throughputs, things like that. So it's really good information, way better graphically than the previous version, so it's a really nice upgrade to run this. We also have options to add different registries. So if you wanted to add some custom registries, by default we've only got a couple built in, so LXD and Docker, so they're built in as standard, but you can add in a custom registry if you so wish with its own URL. So if you wanted to be able to browse different ones, you can. And another really big update is we've now added Kubernetes into Container Station, so we're able to run a standalone lightweight K3s server and client. So you can just enable that here. So maybe at a later stage we'll go through how to use the Kubernetes setup here within Container Station. But this is an update that wasn't in versions before Container Station version 3, so that's a really good option as well. But yeah, so you can set up a lot of different options, get a lot more visibility on the sort of total state and health of Container Station. The dashboard is much more powerful, much more information, and even within the containers themselves there's a lot more information, and setting them up, especially if you're doing lots of custom settings within a container, you can apply them all at once and make all the changes, many changes, and then just apply them once. So it's really, really good for that as well. So that's our new Container Station version 3. If anybody has any questions, please do let us know in the comment section down below, and we threw in a fresh video on how to set up Pi-hole within it as well, for good measure. So again, look forward to seeing you in the comment section. Thanks a lot. Bye.